Dorothy Guining with Scrapbooking Quebec. Happy International Scrapbooking Day. Today I'm celebrating with the Scrapbook Nerd Online Shop, and we have a virtual crop happening all weekend long over on our Facebook group, Scrapbook Nerd Friends Group. We have challenges, prizes, and tons of inspiration. So if you're tuning in between May 6th and 8th, 2022, be sure to head on over. I will put a link to that group in the description box below. If you're late, no big deal. I have a quick and easy double page layout process video. I'm going to share a few ideas for using big, awkward pattern papers, and I have a few tips for stretching supplies. That's because I'm using Pinkfresh Studio's Life Right Now collection, and the paper pack comes with one of each sheet. Now, as a double page scrapbooker, I often rely on having two of each paper, but today I don't, so I've got to figure it out. Here is the material I've selected. You're about to see it. It all comes from this collection. I have paper along with embellishments, and I got all of this at the Scrapbook Nerd Online Shop, so I will link up the shop as well as the supplies I use in the description box below. And by the way, there is an International Scrapbooking Day sale happening there as well in case you're interested. So here's what's on my desk. I just showed you the cover sheet to this Life Right Now collection by Pinkfresh Studio. That's the big awkward paper I was telling you about with the big text on it. I love it, but I often find paper like that difficult to use. I'm showing you the other papers I've selected. I did mat 5 photos in white cardstock, and that large photo, the 7x5, actually has foam adhesive behind it. I'm just showing you a few scraps of paper. That is graph paper and lined paper. I'm showing you my title options. Those mint colored ones are from the Life Right Now collection, but the blue ones and the titles are from past Pinkfresh Studio collections. And in this tray I have embellishments. So I have floral ephemera. That's a cut apart sheet. It was a piece of paper, but I cut it up. I have stickers, chipboard circles, along with enamel dots. So now I'm going to have a look at the background paper. Now typically I use white paper as my foundation page, so this is really different for me. I'm going to be using that large text print, and for the coordinating page, what I looked for was coordinating paper with colors, of course, but because the paper on the left is a large scale print, those words, I looked for an opposite scale. So those rainbows are like a tight scale print, and that was done on purpose. So you can see how I plan to place my photos. I have that large photo. I'm just going to have one on that large text print, and that is a good option for those big awkward prints, just to use one main photo. And for the right hand page, I plan to build a grid with those 4 photos. Now that rainbow paper is super busy, so I do need a paper to put between my photos and the background paper, and I was auditioning the blue and the yellow. I decided to go with the blue for the main mat behind the photos, behind the grid, and that yellow paper, what I eventually will do is turn that into photo mats for all 5 photos. Now before continuing, what I want to do is cut a chunk of this paper, of this rainbow paper, because what I want to do is I want a repetition of the papers that are on the right hand page. I want that to be found on the left hand page. So on that rainbow paper, a big part of it's going to be covered by that large blue mat. So what you saw me do was just cut a big piece of paper out from behind it. And now what I'm going to do is cut photo mats for all of these photos. So with that one 12x12 sheet, I do have enough to mat all photos. And what that's going to mean is I will have that yellow paper on both pages, because I will have it behind my photos on the right page and on the left page. Now I do stop the film. I continue cutting out those mats, and I did adhere that blue large mat to the foundation page. And I also showed you that behind the photos there on the right hand page, each one of those photos has 2 extra layers of hidden scrap cardstock behind it. I just wanted to raise those photos up a little bit, not quite as much as the foam adhesive for the photo on the left hand page, but just a little bit, because there's a lot going on here and it does help to pop up the photos. what you see me doing right now is working with those scraps of paper. So I have the rainbow paper that I got it from behind the foundation page on the right, along with a scrap of that blue paper that I had trimmed off when I cut that large mat. And what I'm doing is creating a layered mat behind the large photo on the right hand page. And again, what I'm doing basically is creating almost a barrier between that big bold print and the photo. I already have the photo mat, of course, the yellow and the white, but this adds additional layers and separates it. And even though a lot of those words are covered up, you still get the mood and feel. You know almost what the words are. They're not totally covered up, but there is something between that text and the photo which helps the photo stand out. And I hope all of that made sense. But basically with those big bold prints, what really helps is to obviously separate the photo with mats from the foundation page, and also not to cover it up too much. And that's why I'm just using one big photo here. So it's really a good option for those big, awkward, but beautiful prints. You can see that I've adhered the mat down to the page. Now I'm adhering the photo. And for 2 of those 3 layers, I did add a little bit of ink. I didn't do it to the graph paper, but I did it to the blue paper and the rainbow paper. And it's something I like to do when I create layered photo mats. I'm not heavy on the ink, but I do like to add a bit of ink. Now I'm looking at my title options, and I decide to go with those blue alphas, which are from a past collection from Pinkfresh Studio, but that blue does match the blue that's in the paper from this collection. And my main part of the title is A Beautiful Life. Now, all I know at this point is that I want it to go on the right-hand page because there are a lot of words already on the left-hand page. I also am thinking about incorporating a few of those titles from that title pack that I showed you earlier, but I'm not sure about that at this point. So you're going to see me play with that a bit later on. And I do have embellishing around me. Now there's a lot happening on this page, but I still want to create 3 embellishment clusters, and I'm going to place them to form a visual triangle across the 2 pages. So basically they serve as a guide for the eye to travel across the 2 pages. So you can see I created a large floral one with the floral ephemera at the bottom left on the left-hand page, just under the photo. The top right of that photo on the left-hand page, what I used a lot of were the cut-apart sheets, but I did add 1 floral ephemera piece. And for the 3rd cluster, I'm just basically building a cluster in the middle of that grid on the right-hand page. So I'm playing around with that, and in a moment you're going to see me get out the title again and play around with that as well. Now I do know I want to have fun with my title on this particular layout. So what I plan to do is place it kind of in a lot of the open spots in those photos on the right-hand page. So like I mentioned earlier, the main part is A Beautiful Day, but I do have 2 other words. They are Enjoy Today from that titles pack. So I could put it on the right-hand page, so it could be Enjoy a Beautiful Day Today, or I could put those words somewhere over on the left. But at this point, I played around with them a bit, but I have absolutely no idea what I want to do. This often happens to me at this point in the process. So what I always have to do is just adhere what I have decided already. What I know I like, I'm going to adhere, and then I'm going to go back with the finishing touches. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm adhering that floral cluster over on the left page at the bottom left of the photo. Now I'm working at the top right of that photo, and again I'm working with the layers, and that really helps add a lot of texture. So I'm putting some of the pieces behind the photo, some behind the photo mat, and I'm definitely working with the layers there. So in that one, I put a bunch of cut apart sheets and 1 floral piece, and now I'm adhering a few floral pieces in that middle part of the grid there. And then what you're going to see me doing is start adhering the title down, but I'm not going to make you watch all of that. I just want to mention the grid as well. Typically when I make this type of layout, I place the grid right in the middle of the page, but to do it a bit differently this time, what I did was I bumped up the grid on the left-hand side of that right page. So it almost looks like it's right in the middle. And I like it. It's a bit different for me. So now I'm coming in with some finishing touches, and I am playing around with those words again. So I try them on the left-hand page, and in the end I decide to put them on the right. So it is going to be enjoy a beautiful day today. I end up adding an extra piece of floral ephemera over there on the right. What I want to do though, because that big blue title is all over on the right-hand side, in the two other clusters, I want to introduce that blue in each one of those clusters. So you saw me tuck in a piece of chipboard, a round piece of chipboard that says Great Day. I put that in the top right on the left-hand page. And down by the journaling box at the bottom left of that photo on the left page, I did put a blue puffy heart. Also, what I end up doing here is I do come in with a bit of foam adhesive. You're going to see that in a minute. And I tuck some foam adhesive behind a lot of the leaves that are in those floral clusters. And again, this is just adding a little bit of dimension and texture within each one of these embellishment clusters. When there are so many prints on the page, it's really, for me anyway, important to add a bit of texture and certainly add a bit of foam adhesive, and just to make some things stand off the page. So the photos are already raised up a bit, and within those embellishment clusters, that is a guide for the eye across the two pages. Those are all raised up a little bit in certain areas as well. So it just helps keep the eye on the important parts of the page. So basically that is it. All I did off camera was add my journaling, of course, and if you do look in each one of those embellishment clusters, I did add a few enamel dots, yellow ones, in each one of those embellishment clusters, but that is it. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd greatly appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the Scrapbook Nerd YouTube channel, we would be absolutely thrilled if you did. And the same thing for my channel, Scrapbooking Quebec. If you are tuning in on International Scrapbooking Day weekend, be sure to head on over to the Facebook group. I will put a link to that in the description box below. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you soon on YouTube. Bye-bye.